Today we're going to talk about exploring creative inspiration. So, seeking out new experiences, finding your creative muse, engaging with other creatives, learning something new, and creating from emotion. So, let's get started. First, seeking new experiences. When you're seeking new experience, when seeking out new experiences, think about visiting a museum or a gallery or a cultural event. Something that'll spark new ideas. I've talked about this before about, going and doing something that is outside of your normal frame of, life. Do something different and see if you can find something that will spark that curiosity in you. Try a new activity outside of your normal comfort zone, like cooking a new recipe or a dance class. Love to dance. I am terrible at it, but I love to dance. So Roy took us to learn how to salsa. Let's just say that I stepped on more feet than anything. Poor guy. Anyway, I tried, but it was a new experience for me. So try something different that you wouldn't normally do and just see how it goes. Even if you have a, terrible time, as in you're not getting it, you still learn a lot. We had a lot of laughs. We had fun. We enjoyed the night. But I'm still a terrible dancer. I would have to practice a lot. So that's one creative outlet that I don't practice. And I can say I'm awful at it, but it's because I don't practice. So consider that in your when you're playing, when you're going to find something new to do. Explore your local area. So I love the architecture, the street art. When you see a train go by, check out the different graffiti that's on there. Some of that artwork is incredible. If you're just talking and ignoring the train as it's going by and not paying attention to that kind of stuff, you're going to miss some creative inspiration. It's very interesting. You might find some hidden gems in the middle of this train flying by. You never know. You can travel to a new destination. Even if it's the next town over, we have a town nearby here that has murals all over downtown. It's gorgeous, but I never knew it was there, and it's like two small towns over. Find something that is maybe a little bit different than the area that you're in. I mean, we went overseas, and of course, Italian architecture and different European architectures are gorgeous. We have some different architecture here. You just have to look for it. Really look for it. So find yourself a different book to read. Immerse yourself in someone else's story. A book, a movie, or listen to a podcast. See what kind of descriptive verses they use. What is it that they're doing differently? Maybe you can take some inspiration on writing a story based on the way that they write. Don't copy. I'm not saying copy. I'm saying use these things for inspiration for your work, whatever your work may be. So next, find your creative muse. Your muse is something that gets sparked when you find something that inspires you. It could be you're reflecting on other people or places or moments that have inspired you the most. You saw a woman who was dressed impeccably, or you saw someone who was dressed in clothes that you find interesting, or maybe you went to a building and you love the architecture of that building, or you read a book and that book sparked something in you. These are all creative muses. These are all things that spark that curiosity in you, that wonder. And if you're not looking for it, if you're not actively paying attention, you miss a lot of these things that could be the next little catalytic movement towards that great thing that you want to create. So look for patterns in your past creative works. Are there themes? I know for me, for a while, I created this huge, like vortex looking things. It was just this big swirl of color and movement. I didn't pay attention to it, but I did like a whole series of these things. So what is it that you can take from that? So now from that piece of artwork, or those pieces of artwork, I realized that I was in this time of learning to ground myself, to get rooted in myself. This movement, this swirling piece of artwork was just showing me all the things that were going on inside me, all these emotions that were moving around inside of me. So what is it that you've created that maybe you need to go back on and reflect on and see what is it that you're going through? What is it that you were going through? What was your mood like? Create a mood board or a Pinterest board and see how you feel about that. And then create one for your inspiration. My Pinterest is filled with all kinds of inspiration of things that I want to create. So it can be a time suck. So don't get drawn into it and lose yourself and not do your creative thing, but still use it as an inspiration. Identify artists or creators or thinkers that inspire you and learn from their journey. So for me, Leonardo da Vinci is one of my favorite creatives. He was all over the place. And I love that because I'm all over the place. He did so many different things, biology and, mechanics and, yes, he built some war machines, but his art, all of these, gears, all of these things that he worked on, that he gained inspiration from life, from everything around him. What can you do to do the same thing? So spend your time journaling about what creativity means for you. What is it that you have found that inspires you? What is it that you have found that is your muse? Journal this out. And then when you have some moments where you feel like you're stuck, you can go back to it and have something to remind you. What is it that sparks you, that keeps you moving? Engage with other creatives. Join a workshop, a club, an online group, something that focuses on your creative interests. We talked about, doing a meetup, or that paint and sip, or something, a pottery and sip, or something like that, where you can go and be doing something creative and enjoy some time being around the people. They have knitting, I don't know what you call them. They used to call them quilting bees. I don't know if they do that anymore, but where women would go together and just create a big quilt. So go do something where you're around like-minded people. I think I'm catching a cold. No, I'm not. I am strong, healthy, and whole. Mindset. Collaborate with a friend on a small creative project. That's what quilting bees were. You'd have this huge piece of work that you need to get done, and all the women would come together and do pieces of it. So what is it that you can collaborate on with a friend or somebody that you've met online? I've created works, visual works and videos with people that I've met online. What is it that you can create? Share your work, invite feedback. It offers new perspectives. Like I said yesterday, if you're asking someone for constructive criticism, that's a good thing. You're going to get a perspective of what it is that they see. And even if it's not somebody who's artistically inclined or creatively inclined, everybody is. But if they tell you they're not, just see what they say. What is the music that you've written make them feel? What does the story that you've written allow them to visualize? What is the piece of art that you've created? What do they see in it? So ask questions of them that bring out the emotion of what you're trying to create. And if they see it, or if they hear it, they feel it, or they don't, that gives you a better idea of what you're trying to create, and you can expand on that. Attend some live events, a poetry reading, a book reading, open mic night at a comedy club, an art show, a battle of the band. All of these things will create a space where you can maybe gain some inspiration, and you're in the activity, you're in the energy of creativity in that action. Doing these things where you're around other like-minded people allows you to expand and to grow. So explore platforms like Instagram or YouTube to discover like-minded creators. YouTube and Instagram If you look, there are some really brilliant people on here. There are a lot of musicians that have now come up through the ranks instead of having to go through a music producer, have come up through YouTube that are now famous. You can do whatever it is that you set your mind to. You just need to be able to, set your mind to it and actually move forward. Learn something new. Step outside. We talked about this yesterday. Step outside, take an online course and a new skill or a form that you always wanted to try. I love Udemy and Skillshare are two that are very good for this. I'm sure there are others. I just can't think of them right now, but just those are really good ones. Watch some tutorials or masterclass. There's actually a platform called Masterclass that they teach you cooking and all kinds of different things. That might be someplace that you could try. Something that has experts in the field that you want to be in that you can go and watch. Even if you're watching free videos because you can't afford it, do something that can teach you different techniques that you may not learn anywhere else. Experiment with a new tool. We talked about this yesterday as well. A new tool or a new medium that you've never used before can help you to expand your repertoire is a great word. The first time I ever used a palette knife, I always felt like I had to use paintbrushes to be able to paint what I wanted to use. And when I picked up the palette knife and started using the palette knife, I realized I was way wrong. I was so wrong. A palette knife allowed me the freedom to be able to do the things that I wanted to do. I would never have known that if I hadn't picked up that palette knife instead of picking up a paintbrush. I always, like I said, I'd always painted thinking that I had to paint like my dad painted or like Roy paints, where you've got an actual form, you've got an actual painting, a picture of something. I can paint pictures of something, but I feel better. I'm more inspired when I'm creating a free-flowing, moving piece. With a palette knife, I can do that. I would never have known that. So find a new tool, something that's different, that's outside of your realm, that you wouldn't normally use, and try using that. I've seen artists use forks on paintings, to use spatulas, and all kinds of different ways of applying paint that most people would think, oh, that's the wrong tool. There's no wrong tool. If you use it and it creates what you want it to create, there's no wrong tool. So get that out of your head. Study the work of someone that you admire. Some of the techniques, maybe then you can adopt those. Picasso, or, a way of making music. Maybe you like somebody who's, creates a style of music that you like. Maybe you can adopt some of that into your music. Music changes. There are people who've created music that have brought in all different kinds of pieces from, heavy metal to classical music to, bluegrass, and created this mashup of a new style of music. Why can't you? There's nothing stopping you. It's just a matter of being allowed in your mind to spread out and be able to do things in a different way. And that takes me to creating from emotion. Reflect on your current state of emotion and let that guide your work. Everybody has heard of musicians who can pour their heart and soul into their music. Their happy music, their sad music, their wild and crazy music. Those are all emotions coming out. You can do that with any art form, any creative outlet that you have. If you're passionate about something, your creativity will show. Even if you're building a business, your creativity will show in that work. But you have to allow those emotions to come out. And you have to allow that to be expressed. So try channeling a specific emotion. Joy, sadness, anger. I've got a couple pieces that look like I was angry. I wasn't, but it's just this crazy mashup of things. But it still is inspiring to look at because you're trying to figure out what it is that you're trying to put into that piece of work. So feel into your emotions and use that to create the work that you want to create. Use music, movies, books, something to evoke the emotion that you want to use in that piece. Let those things inspire you to be able to grab hold of that emotion that you want to infuse into that piece of work. Revisit a past work, reinterpret it through your current emotional lens. How are you looking at an old piece of work? So like I said, with that one piece that I was thinking of, I may have been angry at that time. I may have had these frustrations in me, but when I look at it now, that's not what I see. I don't see that anger. I don't see that frustration. I see, this beautiful blend of colors, and there's a lot of reds and oranges and, those kind of warm colors. And they could be taken as angry and frustrated kind of colors, but they can also be taken as bright, sunshiny, happy, and that kind of emotion. So take an old piece of work and see how do you feel about it now? What kind of emotions does it bring up now? Explore contrasting emotions in color or words, light and dark, happy and sad. Can they coexist in your work? Can you have a song that is sad and happy at the same time? Well, maybe, I don't know, somebody's happy because somebody left them, but that person made them sad all the time, so they're kind of happy that person left. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking about, but you get my point. Try singing about something else. Try to mix those emotions and see what you come up with. So action steps. Go on a 15-minute inspiration hunt today. Find at least 3 things that spark your imagination. Number 2, create a mood board of colors and images and words that represent your current creative vibe. Number 3, find an online group or forum where you can share ideas with other creatives. Number 4, read or watch a tutorial in a skill that you've never tried before. I love doing this. I love watching how someone else works. Even if it's completely outside of my realm. I have no idea how to make music, but watching somebody create music is an amazing thing. I remember watching the Beatles. I think it was the Beatles movie about how they create and the dynamic of the different artists in that group. It's incredible to watch. Working with someone else, especially working with someone else on your own creative thing, it's really inspiring. Okay, number 5, spend 10 minutes journaling about what creativity feels for you right now. So what is creativity in your mind? What does it feel like right now? Is it something that you can do? Is it something that you feel like, I can't be creative? Does it feel like I could create this massive, amazing thing? What does creativity feel like for you right now? And share it. Share it down in the comment. I'd love to know what it is that you're working on. What is it that you're stuck with? What is it that you've got going on with you? I would love to know. All right, some journaling prompts. So number 1, what's the most inspiring experience that I've had recently? And can I draw from it creatively? What's the most inspiring experience I've had recently, and how can I draw from it creatively? Number 2, who or what inspires me the most and why? Who or what inspires me the most and why? Number 3, how do I define creativity in my life right now, and how has that changed over time? How do I define creativity in my life right now, and how has it changed over time? Number 4, what emotions am I feeling today, and how can I express those through my creative work? What emotions am I feeling today, and how can I express those through my creative work? Number 5, if I could create with no limits or fear, what would I do and what would it look like? If I could create with no limits or no fear, what would I do and what would that look like? So that last journal prompt is something that I've gone over a lot. So if this is something that resonates with you, please give it a thumbs up. Hit that notification bell and subscribe. Come back. Tomorrow we're going to talk about cultivating confidence in your creativity, building up that confidence even more, and moving forward in your work. So don't forget, live life adventurously. It's the only way to live. Have a great night.